All right. That's a good camera. I hope they don't see that I'm still wearing my pajama pants. Hey everybody, how are you? Taj and Jakibar and Marina and Stephanie and Tama and Chandra. Yeah, first of all, hello everybody. It's so good to see all of you. And Alicia and I had talked about this class that she was going to do. And excuse me. And let me just tell you, the reason that I have a lot of respect for my wife's expertise is because she does things like this. She puts together workbooks like this. I mean, she wrote this whole thing, and this is pretty thick. I mean, how many pages is this, babe? This is 100 and some odd pages. This is over 100 and 150, 160 pages of research-based evidence on how marriages work. I mean, this is based on science, right? So this isn't kind of like, somebody getting on the internet and just saying, this is what I think. Like, this is actual research. And the reason I think this stuff is so important, and the reason I honor her for this, the work she does, is because, when you talk about making a relationship work, it's really, really hard. And I think my theory, and again, this is where this is the no Alicia zone. This is where I get to come in with the world according to Boyce. Is I believe that that a lot of relationships fail because everybody believes that relationships are supposed to be a do-it-yourself kind of process. A lot of people would probably tune in if you're teaching guys like how to get a woman to sleep with you. A lot of guys might pursue that, or women might pursue things related to beauty tips. How to get rid of wrinkles, or how to wear your makeup a certain way, or maybe people how to make more money, right? And those things are all fine and good, but how often do you see a huge demand for people who want to learn how to pick the right partner and the right spouse, and how to stay married to that person, how to get along with that person? And that's a big deal, because when you're talking about really trying to have huge levels of happiness and success in your life, those are the areas where the tools come in handy the most. If you can't, keep your household in order or your relationship together, it'll ruin you psychologically. Anybody who's ever had the misery and the pain of a bad relationship knows what I'm talking about. It just throws you off. You can't accomplish anything because you spend all your time being miserable and unhappy, and you're wasting a lot of time and energy fighting with your partner, or trying to meet a new partner, trying to start over with somebody else over and over and over again, like that movie Groundhog Day. And also, I mean, I don't want to talk about what it does to your wealth. The lowest net worth in America actually is that of a single black mother. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but single black mothers with children have the lowest net worth in America, and not too far behind them are single black fathers who have children with, let's say lots of children with lots of women and things like that. So I would say that if you want to really be successful at a high level, I encourage you, if you're going to think about lasting partnerships and marriages and all that, find something that is stable, that's going to work for you. And I'm not even, if you want to get married, that's fine too. If you don't want to get married, that's okay. All of it's okay. There's no judgment there. But whatever you're doing, if you have stability, that gives you the opportunity to do all of the other things you want to do. Now, the next thing I'll throw in here is, because I want Alicia to, this is Alicia's class, and she invited me in to share a perspective, and I'll just share, because I think a man's point of view does matter. I will, when you're talking about how to choose a person that you want to marry, and whether or not they're even ready for marriage, I think with men, I can speak for me as a man, and I can't speak for every man. I wasn't ready to get married before I got married. If Alicia had come along as beautiful as she is, when I was maybe 32 years old, I don't know if I would have gotten married, because at that time I wasn't ready. I wasn't interested, right? So I think that a lot of getting married does come down to whether or not the person's ready. It's just like if you think about sleeping with somebody, sometimes somebody might find you attractive and might normally sleep with you, but maybe it's just a bad week. They're not feeling well. They got a lot of stress that week. They're dating somebody at the time. For women, if a woman's on her cycle or something, maybe she doesn't feel comfortable, whatever, right? So a lot of times it's variables beyond your control. In fact, actually, Alicia and I are both statisticians, and this is something we call, did you all call it the latent variable problem? Yeah, latent variable problem. that's where you basically think it's you. Like you think it's you. You're like, oh, well, she must not like me, or he must not think I'm good enough, right? When really it's a bunch of factors that you don't even know about. It's a bunch of variables that you're not even aware of. And I remember that. I remember when I proposed to Alicia, I had an ex-girlfriend who asked me. She said something like, "Why wasn't I good enough?" And I said, it wasn't that you weren't good enough. It's just I wasn't ready. And also, I can only marry one person, right? So you were a great woman. I told her, I said, you were awesome. You didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing wrong with you. I just wasn't ready, and I can only pick one, right? So I think understanding little basic things like that make a big difference. And I will also say that when I chose to marry Alicia, we were friends for a very long time, which really formed a hugely powerful foundation to the relationship. Like sometimes when when she gets annoyed with me as a husband, she leans on the fact that I'm her friend. Or when I get annoyed with her as my wife, it's like, but that's my buddy, right? And that friendship foundation, I think, is really important. It goes beyond some of the more superficial things that I've seen in terms of people being attracted to each other because, oh, he makes a certain amount of money, or oh, she looks really pretty and she has a nice body, or whatever. Like, I don't think those things really sustain a healthy relationship. I think it has to go deeper than that. And if your partner is not your friend, I would encourage you to make friends with that person. Like really understand what that means to be their friend, because that gives you another backdrop you can lean on in case the relationship part doesn't work out. The other thought I'd say is getting help on a consistent, ongoing basis, I think matters. I see maintaining marriage the same way you maintain a car. Right? With your car, you can't drive 50,000 miles without getting a tune-up or an oil change. You can't drive thousands of miles without putting gas in the car. And a relationship, to me, does require consistent maintenance on a regular basis. And I will also say this. I told my wife, I said, when I married her, I said, I didn't marry you because I just wanted to get married. I married you because you are extremely special to me. You are unique. You are one in a million, in my view. Because there are people out there are other women around in life that, maybe I could have married or whatever. But I said, I'm marrying you because of you, because it's you, right? Because there's something special about you that makes me want to do this. And the reason I mention that is because sometimes we get married because, the person's the best, most, the best available catch, right? Like, oh, he's a great catch and all this other stuff. And I would encourage you to be thoughtful and careful about that, because you might see somebody as the catch of the century, but they may not see you as the catch of the century. They may see you as something that's easily replaceable. He might say, well, I got a lot of women that like me, and I can replace you in a second, and you should be honored to be with me. I don't think people like that are the people you want to marry. I think the person you want to marry is somebody who says, my God, I am so lucky to have you. I'm going to be on my best behavior with you because you can't be replaced in my life, right? And maybe that requires you to kind of look a little bit more broadly when you're choosing, right? Not so much just choosing the person who is the best from a superficial standpoint, but choosing the person who admires the living shit out of you. Like somebody like that guy who just says, my God, I would put rose petals at your feet anywhere you go. I'm honored to be around you. And you can tell. And because I think sometimes one of the myths I've seen, again, this is Uncle Boyce advice. I did not write, a 150-page book like my wife did, right? So just know she's probably going to disagree with some of the things I say. Maybe she's going to agree, maybe not. But we disagree all the time, because my advice comes from a different place. But I would say that, one myth I hear people talk about is they'll talk about the difference between a good man and a bad man. Oh, he was a good man. Oh, he was a bad man. I don't know how much I believe in that's always true. Because I've seen the same man treat one woman really badly because he didn't value what he had. And that same man treat another woman like gold, because he saw her in a certain way. Right. So a lot of times I think choosing who to marry or who to commit to isn't just about how you see them, what you see is the most valuable. It's how they see you. Like I love my wife because she loves the hell out of me. If my wife did not love the hell out of me, like if she just saw me as some random dude that she could replace in a second, I wouldn't marry her. I don't want to be married. It's like taking a job where they remind you every day, well, we can fire you and we can replace you in a week, and we don't want you, and we don't care. We're not going to give you a raise because we don't value you. Who wants to work for a company like that? The only person that would take a job like that is a person with low self-esteem, right? Like maybe if your self-esteem's low and you need your label to validate you. Like I need to be validated by saying that I work at the White House. So I'll let them abuse me. I'll let them underpay me. I'll let them mistreat me because I need that label, right? Some people do that in relationships. They need the label. Like I want to be married to a senator. So because I can brag to my friends, so I'm going to let him abuse me, mistreat me, talk down to me, and disrespect me. When there was another guy who worshipped the ground I walked on, but he wasn't a senator, and I walked right past that person, right? And so I'm not telling you how to make that choice, but I will argue that those choices matter when it comes to being happy and valued in the situation that you're in terms of choosing the right type of person. I also really think that the training of the person matters. I think that for men, especially, given that marriage takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of accountability and a lot of commitment and stuff like that. Um, People who live, say based on instant gratification are not the best people to work with, because that's like trying to run a marathon with a sprinter, right? You think about it in the Olympics. The Olympics are coming up. There are some sprinters who are literally like the fastest human beings on the planet. But if you try to run a marathon with a sprinter, you're not going to win that race. They're not going to be able to go more than 100, 200 meters with you, and then they're going to give up, right? So some of you are trying, if you get married to the wrong type of person, especially in a society that is built on so much instant gratification, or maybe they never saw what a healthy relationship even looked like, that person is you're trying to run a marathon with a sprinter, and then you may be surprised when they give up easily, or they can't stand the rain. Like New Edition, you say they can't stand the rain because they've never hung out long enough to even endure the rain. When it starts raining, they think that means they're supposed to quit. So one of the benefits that I had by watching my parents stay married for 47 years and watching my father honor the hell out of my mother from 1974 up until 2021 and beyond, is I learned that there's always going to be rain somewhere around the corner, and that the rain is not a reason to give up. It's not a reason to freak out and panic. It's not a reason to walk away. It just means you might need to pull out your umbrella. You might get a little bit wet. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe you wish you were on the beach, but eventually the sun will come back out, and it's going to make you appreciate the sunshine because you endured the rain, and that becomes your bragging rights. Like my parents now can brag about the fact that they put in 47 years of marital work, and because they endured the rain. And the thing about enduring the rain is it's not enough for you to train yourself to be able to endure the rain. You must partner with somebody who can also endure the rain. Because if you don't, then you're running a marathon with a sprinter and you'll just be standing in the rain all by yourself. Okay. So those are my thoughts on the issue. I'm going to go ahead and let Alicia take back over the class. But I hope this information was helpful, and thank you, baby, for letting me share my 2 cents. And I hope that this was helpful.
Your 2 cents, okay.
It was, I know, maybe it was like more like a quarter, but I'm getting up out of her chair, so I know better than to keep talking when smart Black women are speaking. So God bless you guys, and I'll see you all soon. So good luck with the class. All right, bye bye.